Good Monday morning. It is the 3rd of February, 2025. Going to be a pretty warm day. We're going to get up near 60 or even above in the area. Starts off a little chilly in the 30s, but yeah, really warming up this afternoon. But hold your horses because things are going to be wild this week. Tomorrow, pretty mild as well in the 50s, but Wednesday looks like some snow and sleet and rain mixed all day and into the night. So yeah, that's kind of an update. But don't worry, because on Thursday, temperatures could shoot right back up to about 60 degrees to melt everything away, whatever happens. And it looks like wet next weekend, but maybe not all wet. Could be a little bit of mixture as well then. And then, oh man, the following week's going to be pretty wild. We'll have to see how things pan out. But both forecast models are continuing to point some wintry weather right around the right before Valentine's Day. And on Valentine's Day. And it could be significant. It could be not just one, but two storms kind of mixed together. You're going to see it here. Don't be worried that's so far off. It could totally change. And even on this, there's a lot more ice in this one, which is a little more concerning, I think, than anything else. So anyway, we're going through today. Really nice and warm day. It'll be kind of cloudy, though, but warm day. A little bit cooler tomorrow, a little kind of breezy tomorrow. So not quite as nice as today. But still really mild. And then you see that this high here to the north is going to bring down some colder air. We call this cold air damming. You see how these lines are kind of sagging to the southwest. That's because the high is going around like this. And it's bringing cold air east of the mountains. And cold air damming is usually underestimated by models. So we'll have to see how much cold air damming occurs. But it's enough now to cause sleet all the way down into the central part of Virginia, which is why we're moving towards this, mixy type of scenario on this thing. Now, on this particular model run this morning, the high is so strong it's actually suppressed most of the moisture to the south. So that mixiness has moved further south, and so that's a little bit of a change from last night's forecast runs. But then later, we got freezing rain, sleet, and whatnot on Thursday. But then it kind of quickly warms up as that all moves fast to the north. That's a warm front. Look at how warm these isotherms are. You can see these red lines. That's pushing southwest winds right over top of us. So maybe not as much moisture around. So that may be why it's backed off on some of this sleety, snowy stuff, which had turned likely on the forecast models, of course. Forecasts, but of course those get pulled away as we get close to the event. Here, we're still not super warm or cold. We're right there along the line, and then this is coming into this weekend. This is what I meant by maybe it's not all rain this weekend. Maybe it could be a mixture of a situation again. Looks a lot like what was originally forecast for today, and then it warms up finally, and then we get the front come through, which will be rain. That doesn't look that wet, but it does look like it's a nuisance through the weekend that we'll have some showery, sleety, snowy, probably more like sleety and rainy kind of scenario. Then cooler air starts to settle in. And again, as we go into next week, so this is pretty cold. It won't be as warm as this week by any means. Probably closer to normal, I'd suspect. Maybe even a slightly below normal long range. And here's where the big event could start to come together. We'll have to see. This is what we call overrunning. So there's a front here that you don't see across this area here. Let's see if I can show you. There's a front that's kind of stuck like right here. It may be more kind of like this because of the way that the sagging of the cold air is. So you can see that this high and this low and stuff is draining cold air down east of the mountains. Like I say, that's cold air damming. And so that's why you're seeing what you're seeing there. Anyway, as this moisture comes in from the west, and there's a low that's trying to form here, it's pushing air up over top of this front, and that's called an overrunning event because it's overrunning the cold air. And when it overruns the colder air, it gets pushed up and it precipitates, and that's why we get, the rain and stuff from the system. So that's kind of what we're seeing next week. And exactly how deep is that cold air? Well, it's a good question because it will do a lot, to show it, to potentially bring moisture and potentially snow or a mixture into the region. Notice that it's not very heavy at first, but then boom, that's a pretty good amount of snow falling right there. And this is for Tuesday, But remember, this is a whole week and a day away, so the chances of this being exactly right are way, way too hard to know. But that was a pretty moderate snow we had. That was from the overrunning event. Little wave along the front. And here comes another more substantial one. And this is heavy snow here. But boy, we are so close to the rain snow line. It kind of makes me wonder if we'll mix over. Probably will. The sleet and stuff. Yeah, there goes the mix. Because it's high is a little further north this run. But originally, we were in a much more favorable situation. That's an icy mess. And then, lo and behold, here comes another riding wave along that. And this one, again, it's just about the track. More snow, heavy snow, and that was a much more favorable track. So it was a very heavy snowstorm, and that's on the Friday the 14th. So like I said, a lot of mischief going on the following week. What I would tell you is it's got me a little concerned that we're too close to the rain snow line way too often, and so when that happens, we tend to have heartbreak, and it ends up being much less of a snowy situation. But there are things called ensembles where it looks at the different runs of the model, and it does look a little more snowy on some of those models than it does on the main model. But anyway, this is interesting only also because it keeps on showing up. It's been showing up for now days in a row. So we'll see what happens. All right, this was way too long. Have an awesome Monday. It's been your Loudoun County weather outlook. Expect your warm today, tomorrow. Kind of some mixiness maybe on Wednesday and Thursday. Then get warming really quickly on Thursday. And then some rainy and maybe some mischief through the weekend, but hopefully maybe not too much. Anyway, have an awesome day and an awesome week with your Loudoun weather outlook.